Hello everyone from Studio 10. Today we have a coffee with Ania and my guest is the Murty Brennan. Murty Brennan, HON Polish Consul in Ireland. But before we go for that subject, I just want to show you who is really the Murty Brennan. Hello Murty.
Hi Ania.
How are you today?
Very well, and thanks for having us on your show.
This is a pleasure for me, you are here. Maybe we start from the beginning. Where are you from?
Okay, well, was born in Kilkenny, and it was over in New Park. And New Park is a very, very close-knit community. And I still would be involved in there, even though I left 30-odd years ago now, because I would have moved to different parts of the country when I was working. But we always came back to Kilkenny, and Kilkenny is really the home. And I think of all the cities and towns I've been in, Kilkenny is by far the best of them, you know. But I had two older brothers and one older sister, and then one younger brother. Now, one of my brothers passed away, Tom. He passed away in December 2013, and unfortunately my father passed away on Christmas Eve of the same year. My mum passed away in 1988, I think it was, and my father never remarried or anything like that, so he was on his own then from 1988 up to 2013, which was a long time. But it's a weird story because I've been in a lot of different places and a lot of different jobs, you know.
But you're always coming back to Kilkenny?
Always back to Kilkenny.
And always the Kilkenny is the most important, yeah?
Well, it is. I mean, you would find that the Kilkenny people are very friendly and they're very open.
That's true.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of... I've been in places where you would go out and you would remain isolated from the group, but usually I've often found in Kilkenny, even if you didn't know people, they will talk to you anyway. So it's a friendly, outgoing town, and you know it's a safe place as well in comparison to other places that I've worked on stage. You know.
Yeah, it is. What about the music?
Music, yeah, that was an odd thing really, because how it all came about is
how it started actually in your life. Like who showed you first?
It was funny because. I would always been a big fan of music and new music at the time and stuff like that. And I was very big into Jeff Lynne and the Electric Light Orchestra. But I also would have loved Ty Wilcox and all her songs, and I would have had all their albums. And for any reviewers that know, an album is a big thing that you put on a timetable. It's not splitting it into a USB stick.
That's all right.
Yeah, so
I'm not that young, yeah.
And... oddly enough, I went to see Christopher playing, and then the following Tuesday or whatever, right, my sister had a spare ticket to go to see a duo called Makem and Clancy, Tommy Makem and Liam Clancy, and there was an extra ticket, so I said, sure, I'm doing nothing, I'll go. And I have to say, even to this day, they were the most entertaining group I've ever seen. From the time they went on the stage, it was a show, it was an act. And I was completely hooked in on the folk and ballad music. And I began to play a lot. And would have met then up with Bobby Clancy, who used to be down in a place called Powers of Tullahocht. And how it came about is he had a 5-string banjo, and I play 5-string, okay? And on the night he said, does anyone want to play the 5-string banjo? And I said, yeah, I had it, and I was playing it before he even knew it had gone over his hand. And when it was over, he came over and said to me that he always asked that because he knew no one in the pub played it, because it was a beautiful banjo, beautiful banjo. And it just went from there, and then we ended up in a group which was nearly a replica of the Clancy music, okay, and I ended up playing in a New Park Hotel for 15 consecutive summers, and at one stage I would be making more money playing music than I was in my full-time job. Okay, it was a very, 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 very well paid. And then the group started travelling. And did
you travel a lot?
Yeah, I did. And yeah. I tell you, I got to the stage that I hated the travelling, but I loved the playing. Okay, and it was probably, looking back on it now, I remember the time that I said I had enough. It was down in a international folk festival in Killarney, And I said, I'm taking my gear, lads, I'm going home. And the usual, like, you're not, And I said, I am. So I left. And but it was at the time that I was starting to get sick, so a lot of it could have been just that as well.
And for how many years you play?
Well, you see, that was it. Like, I mean, I've always maintained that I will go back to play, but now I won't. But I still have that linger in the back of my mind that I'll do another show. But you
play sometimes at home with your family?
I used to until 2014. I stopped then. Okay, and I basically haven't picked up anything since then. I haven't wrote any music. I've done nothing.
But why?
I did come back in 2012. Wrote Celtic Cry, and that was done. Nearly kind of, I wanted to do something different, so we brought in Lotta Curran, who played the violin Finnish Galati. We brought in Martina Vacca, he played the eating pipes in Italian. We had James Blenner Hassett, who plays with Van Morrison, he played with us. We had Chip Weckel, American drummer, local guy John Travers, and unfortunately the late and possibly one of the best ever piano players Kilkenny ever produced, and that was Michael Moghabrady. Unfortunately he has passed away from us, but it was an excellent idea that we put together, and it was all original music. And we played 3 nights a week for 6 weeks in the Watergate Theatre. And a lot of the nights it was capacities,
You are a father.
I am.
Yeah, you have how many children?
I know that I have 3.
All right,
yeah.
Okay. If someone has some more information about this, just please contact with us.
Yeah, I have 3, yeah. And
they are also like, like involved with the music.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark is an excellent musician, and at times when I would have been playing places, he would have backed me. Okay, Eve, as you know, is a singer, and she would have sang in a few of the shows with me. And then, of course, there's Philip. Philip is an actor and a writer, and they all do it now, like I did, as really a hobby, but it's a hobby you can get paid for. And Mark now works with VHI. Eve is a pharmacist, and she still is connected to music because she's been going out with Owen Cardiff from Picture This for the last 10, 15 years, I suppose. And then Philip, who is an excellent writer and an artist, and he did 1 or 2 shows with me as well, where he did the kind of the poetry and the acting side of things, because I like that kind of thing in a show that you develop the story. But he now is studying horticulture.
That's very nice. And which one of your child is the most like you?
Well, it's funny really, because everyone says Philip looks like me, right? I maintain he'll grow out of it, not to worry, Philip, And when it comes to sense of humour, it's definitely Eve. Okay, and the 2 boys would have more Sandra's sense of humour, and Eve would be more on my weird looking things, because when I'd pass a joke, she laughed, the 2 boys would look at me, and when they pass a joke, we just say, what the hell are they talking about? So.
Tell me about the Twilight. What is a Twilight?
Well, Twilight, as you know, it started off, the reason why is when I came home from hospital that time. I think it's no secret that in 2014 I was given 3 weeks to live. Okay, and when I came home, I would have been in a wheelchair, and I had to get from that to a walking frame and then to a walking stick, because I was told that the best thing you could do now is sit down and relax and take it easy, and nearly say you're in God's waking room now type of idea, and I wouldn't be into that. And then, of course, the always thing that always in the back of my mind is that someone died for me to live. Okay. And it would be disrespectful just to do that. So most of the stuff that I would do, I would say, at least the person who I received the liver from, the liver was being put to good use, I hope. So Twilight began as a hobby like that, to only be an hour or 2 a day, just something at the kitchen table, just to keep your mind occupied, because I can't just sit there. I always have to be doing something. And how
it's
it began,
different, in your life. If you are always busy and it's just like that, you have to stop and you can't do it.
Well, you see, I've been doing a lot of things, because we say I've had retail stores. I've worked in retail. I had a home lending credit company. I worked in finance, and oddly enough, I also had an Indian restaurant for a number of years. Okay. And we'll say there's some. It's hilarious, really, with the things that you would do that you wouldn't know. Like, I mean, I remember one particular day I wanted to buy a cooker, right? And I knew that the tennis club were selling a good cooker. So I knew nothing about cookers, which I don't. I know nothing about it. I might as well stick my head in the oven and turn on the gas. Like, I mean, I still wouldn't know.
The most important.
Yeah, I still wouldn't know that if it was working or not, But so I rang a friend of mine and I said, well, I asked him. And he said, just ask him, are the valves ready for natural gas, or do we have to put it on the bottle, right? And he said, then he'll think you know what you're talking about, right? So I did, went up and said, oh yes, sir, those valves, are they the valves properly for the town gas, natural gas, or do I have to get in and change all those valves because it'd be quite expensive, And he said, why, what would happen? Oh, the flame would be too high, right? So, oh, right, he said, right. I said, well, you'll have to give me at least 100 or 150 euro discount for that then. And eventually, he gave it to me. And I don't know whether they were or weren't. All I know is that the following Saturday night they were working in the kitchen, But it's Twilight itself then. What happened is I was in the Polish embassy because I actually thought that if you want to do something with another country, the embassy should be the first port of call. And when I called in, if you remember Future that was there.
But this is like another question, the Malbork.
That was interesting, yeah.
Yeah, this is like the first, and the success of the Twilight when everything started.
Yeah.
But why, like different communities? Why Poland?
Right, well, you see, how that came about was when I was in the embassy, then the late ambassador who passed away about 2 years ago, Richard, he came in and he said to me, would you ever think of maybe could we twin Kilkenny City with Malbork because of the two castles, right?
And that was started in which one year?
That was 2016, 15, 16. And I said, yeah, and I'll be quite honest, my reaction was, I should look at 6 months' work, it'll keep me occupied for 6 months. And I looked at Twinnings and I didn't like what I saw because they were really top-heavy with politicians, and I don't agree with that. So you have to build it from the bottom up, because in 1945, a lot of people wouldn't realise that's when Twinnings started, and it was the Allies who started that. And their idea was that this would be a way of connecting communities again after the end of World War II. And the criteria was it was to be run by communities for communities with practically no political interference. Now, something has happened since then, because now it's very political when it comes to Twinnings, okay? So what I did is I didn't like what I saw, so I went away and I wrote a thing called Twinning Protocols. And I brought them back to the local authority here in Kilkenny, and they accepted them. And now they are the template for all Twinnings in Kilkenny, and they use them in Poland, and they use them in France as well, because we went to France just after that. So it's all built around communities, sport clubs.
And all different communities.
Yes. So you want to make sure that all the schools have an opportunity, all the seniors have an opportunity, all the basketball clubs, soccer clubs, ice hockey clubs, they should all be connected. And what happened then, you see, is in a sense it'll take a life of its own, because the community groups will start working together. And you would have seen that in Poland, where the CBS have been over there twice, the Balbini have been here at least twice. This
is like the big children or the...
Well, you see, the way we've set it up, right, is we now have, because it's got so big, right, and as I said, the concept was never to be as big as it is, right, but now we have 18 partners in Europe. And we're in Morocco as well. But the idea is, you see, is that you connect the communities, okay, but they themselves, like, we believe in one particular thing, right, and that is that we should never tell people of any community or of any nationality or whatever, here, this is what you need. I don't agree with that. If we're going to do something, we turn around and ask them, what do you want? And they can tell us what they want, and then we'll build a program of that, which we did with the LGBTQ. That was a big program that they came to us, and we built it around what they wanted.
Did you was in Poland? Did you visit already Poland?
Oh, yes. I love it, yeah. I was with a lovely lady one time down in Zakopane. It was a lovely part of the country.
Do you have some favorite actually city in Poland?
Zakopane, I would be very, very...
and favorite food in Poland? Something Polish, do you know?
Oh yeah,
the
well, I
Polish
love the
dishes?
soup. I'm a big
Yes?
soup eater. I love soup.
Which one?
I love the soup with the dumplings in it.
Okay.
And I can never think of the names of them, but all the soups I just think are lovely. They're nearly like a meal on their own. If you had that and a couple of slices of a batch loaf and a big fire, you'd be made.
That's great. What is interesting with the different communities? What you think? Does we can learn something from each other?
You can. Every community has all the similarities, but they're different. Okay, but the one thing that they all want is they all want to be able to have a happy life. I think that's, and be allowed to live their life, but to also be engaged with the other people. Right now, to make that happen, we believe that in the International Culture House, which is what you're in here, okay, and that allows every community to come and use this as a safe and secure space.
And do you think this is important to have like a community hall, like
Yes.
a culture house?
Yes, very important, because we've even spoke to the Department of Justice about this, where it should be a replacement for direct provision. Okay. And the idea behind that then is just let's stick with the direct provision idea. Usually with direct provision is someone says, oh, there's direct provision up to here tomorrow, and there's no consultation or whatever. What our topic is, and we've discussed this with the Minister and the Minister of the last government, is that if you're going to put in a what direct provision thing, we just scrap that name, it doesn't sound right. But you put in an international culture house, and you must remember the Irish are a culture as well, and we're an international culture. So that cultural house then will have a meeting room, a cafe, a intercultural library. It will have a community hall. It will have access to all the services that are required.
And it's for everyone.
It's for everybody.
Every age of group, yeah.
Every age group, but also it has to be that the Irish people are in these towns and villages and cities. Our community groups are now also getting a library, a drop-in cafe, meeting rooms. It's theirs as well. And that's the only way, anyway, you'll have a fully integrated society, is that it has to have integration and it must be organic. We would have a classic example of that here. We have a room in the building where there is 5 desks. These 5 desks can be used by anybody free of charge. A lot of students use them to study because they can't study at home, or we'd have transition year students come into it, or they come up from WIT in January to us. Now, they just sit there and they work, right? And I have often noticed that the room would be quiet in the first couple of days, right? But then someone will ask someone, well, how do I do this? And then, oh yeah, well I can do it. And suddenly then, without any effort from anybody,
Then everyone can work together.
and they're all working together. And suddenly, you'll notice that the 3 are heading down the stairs together. They're going off for their lunch, where 2 weeks earlier they didn't even know each other. And now it's not a South Sudanese, a Polish, or someone from Uganda. It's just Yona, Michael, and Nicholas.
That's mean also like if someone from Kilkenny or any place in Ireland, they need some support and they doesn't speak in English, they can always come in here to you actually, and then you can find someone who will help in their own language, yes?
Yeah, because it was set up with that in mind. When, if you remember, initially we would have built up, and we have what we still have them right across the world, is called associated consultants. So therefore, no matter who comes in, there's someone here who can speak that language, right?
That's actually great support.
Yeah. So like, I mean, and that includes Urdu, and it includes Bengali. It includes all the different languages that come out. We even have another guy who is with us now, and he speaks Tamil, which is one of the oldest languages in the world, and he speaks that, right? And we would also encourage that any of the, let's call them the second generation, okay, people should, for definite, keep learning your own language, right? There might be a tendency to say, well, I don't use it now, so I forget it. But when that happens, you're going to lose a generation, because you won't be able to communicate with your grandparents or any people back in Poland, for example, because if you forget your Polish, you're speaking in English, there is certain people who don't speak Polish or don't speak English in Poland. So, and it could be your grandparent, because the older people wouldn't. Now you've lost communicating with them. And as I've always said, seniors have so much to offer. A senior person has
We
something.
have to listen, seniors.
Listen to them, yeah, because they have something that you haven't got or I haven't got. And you can't get in any university if they have a degree of life. They've lived life and they can tell you all about it.
That's fantastic. In Twilight, it's actually the group of young people.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yes.
like some specified project, or what is it actually?
It would have began last year. We always had the idea of doing a youth inclusion group. So our transition year student, Mikhailos, right, he came over. And it was one of the things I said, well, let's look at it. We have someone here now from that age group. And it started from there. And it's been a great success. It's now supported by the ETB, it's supported by Ossory Youth, the National Youth Council of Ireland, and they do some fantastic work. They do have workshops such as overcoming isolation after COVID. They also have one coming up now for the exams as a stress releaser and anxiety workshop. But it's not all about that, because we said this week they're heading off to do the pumpkin picking for October for the Halloween, and then they're also have just back from the Dunmore Adventure Park, Splash World, and of course the big thing this year is they spent a week in Paris, and that's all started last year. So TYI, Twilight Youth Inclusion, will cover all the people that we have from 13 to 18. Then we have TYA, which is Twilight Young Adults, and that's the older groups, and they're the people that go on the Erasmus Plus programs like TOPS or WASTE and all these ones. And after that, then you're into the leaders, and they bring us right up then to our senior group, which is Twilight Association Senior Services, which unfortunately is TAS, okay? But we have already agreed with Erasmus and the European Union that they will help me to fund senior travel, and we already have an agreement with Morocco and France. Moroccan Ambassador Larsen Wari, His Excellency has arranged that we can send our groups to Morocco for summer or for a winter holiday, summer holiday, and France have also arranged it. So now it's up to me to come up with an idea that has a learning aspect in it, and Erasmus will fund that for the seniors to travel around Europe.
Fantastic, that's wonderful. Another big project is Project David.
Yeah, David was, as I said here sometimes, that we do not like telling people this is what you need, tell us what you want. So 12 months ago, I was approached about a LGBT. And
That's big as well.
I was very honest with them, and I said, look, I do not know anything about it. There's no point in me trying to tell you. But I said, we definitely would support you if you can come back with a plan. And they did, and they talked about, look, they need more visibility. It's not inclusive for them. They need more awareness and development and diversity, right? So we sat down and we wrote a program called David, which is Diversity, Awareness, Visibility, Inclusion, Development. And it's also in honour of David Norris. And David was the gentleman. He brought the Irish state to the European Union and to legislise to make homosexual that wouldn't be a crime in Ireland. And his first march, the Gay March, there was 9 on it. And now the Gay Pride has have over 70 to 80,000 in Dublin. So we then put that programme into action. And there's workshops on. There's one on with TransLife. TransLife then used this premises once a month because we discovered they had no safe, secure space. So this is safe and secure for them. And we've also done a number of podcasts on it as well. And we developed a full program. We did LGBT training in the community. So we've done a lot of work on it. But that all came because they came to us and they told us what they needed. You know what? This is what we want.
How many years you built Twilight?
Twilight, it began in 2014, so we're here 8 years now, a hobby, 8 years later.
That was only a hobby,
Only a hobby, yeah. And I'll be quite honest, right? If we had a bigger premises, and if we had more people, and I'll be quite honest, even here today, now you would know a lot of people, and a lot of people watch the show. If any one of them want to come over and get involved in any aspect of what we're doing, more than welcome. Okay, if we had more people and we had a bigger space, I'm not exaggerating when I say that it's probably operating at about 25% of where it could be.
How somebody can contact with you? If some of the listeners today will say like, okay, I want to be involved, I want to do with something.
Yeah, they can call us directly. They can just come in and walk into us here in.
And where we can find Twilight?
Yeah, you can go on. We have our website is www.twilight.ie. That'll give you all the past projects, current projects. It'll explain to you all the ethos, which is communities are stronger together.
Twilight logo.
Yes, Tree of Life.
Tree of Life. Why?
Okay, that has a story behind it, and it's probably a little bit of a personal story as well. Is first of all, if you look at a Tree of Life, it's got very solid roots. Okay, it's solid roots, and then it comes up, and then it goes into the branches. And if you think the branches, then are all our partners. But how it came about in the beginning was between 2010 and 2014, I had a lot of surgery. Okay, and I was I was revived a few times when they had lost me on the table. And one of the surgeons came to me and he said to me after one time, he said, "We've lost you twice last night, but you keep coming back. You must have a strong connection to your Tree of Life." I mean, honest, I didn't know what the Tree of Life was, which is unusual because I like Celtic history and I read an awful lot of Celtic stuff. So he explained to me, and we started talking about the Tree of Life in Africa. And then when the logo was coming up, I said, well, that's a nice logo because it covers two things. It reminds me of what I have to do and where I came from, but it also has the that aspect of solid roots, a good, strong central trunk and a central core to the business.
And this is a Twilight, yeah?
Yes, and then it
Murty Brennan, who is the Irishman, just supports all the community. That's amazing, actually, from my side. And I just wanted to say thank you from the Polish community. You're doing a great job, and you support really like everyone here. And we can turn back Polish HON Consul in Ireland. Yeah. That's amazing. That's really like someone saw your work for us, and they say you are. Do you remember when that was happened?
I do. It started.
Did you was surprised actually?
Yeah, it started back, would you believe, in about 2017, 18, I'd say. And it was Piotr who said it to me. Peter said it to me first. And then the new ambassador came in, okay, and the conversation came up again. And it is a commitment, okay, but it's also an honour. You know what I mean? It is something that
it is something big. It is, yeah. It's not like everyone can.
No, it's an honour, and one of the things why the people often say, well, why is an Irishman or a Kilkenny guy Polish consul, right? It would be the same all over the world, actually, because what the embassies try to do is they try to get someone from the local community who knows the local business and knows the local history and the culture, and by knowing the ins and outs of that, then you can help to develop the Polish community, and that's the idea behind them. It's something I think that can be developed more here in Kilkenny as
because there is the office in Kilkenny.
Yeah.
Like some Polish people, they don't have to travel to Dublin.
We can
they
get the
can come just directly to you.
Yeah. And then, as I said, then we have an event then towards the end of October this year, where we will be having the consular section here in the embassy, in the consulate office. They're from the embassy, and we will be issuing and renewing passports here in Kilkenny. And there's information on that on the website. There's information on the Facebook page. It's done by appointment, so you'll have to make an appointment with the Dublin office. But it'll give you an opportunity to come to the consulate. It'll give them an opportunity to get their passports and everything registered here. And hopefully then, if it's a success, that we'll do it on a regular basis.
That's amazing. Tell me, what kind of project you want to do it in the future?
In the future, right. Okay, well, I think what we're doing here is something that needs to be developed. I think there's everything has gone online now. Everything has gone digital. I think this is something that we can develop a lot more, get more people involved, train younger people how to use it. But also then there is the danger of social media security. So we have a 7 steps of social media security course, which we give to all the young people. And it's always part of any of the programs that we do, is that's the first thing we start with. Okay. There is a few things that I'd like to see happening. I believe that there should be a network of like-minded organisations, okay, because sometimes there's a call in the European Union, and on the day that it's a week or so before it's closed, you will get a phone call. Would you like to join us in this programme, right? We tend to say no, okay, unless I know the lads and I know what they're doing. Well, what I believe is that there should be a network that would meet, like, say, our 18. We could meet once, twice a year. And then we could decide that would say, okay, that particular project is more suitable for the Baltic states. This particular project is more suited for the Northern European things. So what we would do then is that we would be able to build the programs that suit the regions, okay? And then interconnect them then with connecting cultures. Well, doing it that way, we would maximise the benefit of the Erasmus Plus programme, the European twinning programmes, the SERV programmes, and I firmly believe in you have to get value for money. I do not like waste, okay? And we have to be realistic to it. It is public money that we're spending. It's taxpayers' money, you know. So you have to be responsible with it, and you have to make sure that you're getting the maximum from it, and that you're producing something at the end of it, so that if there's someone from the age of 13 to 18, when they finish that trip to France, they've got something out of it. And especially when you go into the bigger ones, the ones from 18 up, okay, they're quite extensive programs. Like we're doing one at the moment on waste, okay, and that is to show the municipal districts that how they can cut back on their waste and stuff like that. And that's 10 different countries are involved with us in that. And then we're doing another one on solidarity, okay, and that next, in the end of the month, there's a program in Greece where we will have representatives there, and they're actually talking about European scepticism, which there's a lot of, okay, but the amount of benefit that Ireland have got from the European Union is amazing. We were a net beneficiary of the Union up to 2 years ago, and now we are a net contributor. And look at Brexit now. They're outside the Erasmus Plus programme. Okay, so their students are going to miss out on it. Okay, and that was something they never thought about, you know. And I hear people saying, and I've often said that to them, what about the Erasmus Plus programme? Oh, we'll get that money somewhere. They will not get that money somewhere. It's colossal money that the union sets aside for the development of it, right? And I can see the people here have benefit from it. And I just think if we had a bigger premises and we had more people from, I could do European programs and have European programs going on every fortnight.
It's amazing. Polska Air Festival.
Yes.
Polska Era.
Polska Era.
Yes.
Yeah. Polska Era, oddly enough, you know, is when I went into the embassy that time back in 2016 or 15. And
that again, something what it's happened every year.
Yeah,
just the COVID probably took it.
Took a lot out of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the start of Polska Era. But that day, he told me that I was the first Irish person that ever called into the embassy to talk about integration. Never happened before, right? And I was, I thought that this was the point of call, because all our projects begin with the embassies, the Romanian embassy, the Moroccan embassy, the French embassy. Right, we always go to the Irish embassy first, and we notify them what we're doing. They help us to select a town, a like-minded town. Then they will support all our projects that help us to develop them. Right, the Polska Era Festival then was starting at that stage. Now, in the beginning, you know, there was only, I think, 5 venues, and then we had the launch of it in 2017 in Kilkenny, and we did a wonderful video with Infinity Media, and that's still available on the website. And just before COVID, there was 161 different towns in Ireland that had a Polska Era event. Wow. COVID kind of killed it. It went digital for a while. We did a digital festival, and we got great support from the High Kings, and we got great support from Donna, and we got great support from a lot of different bands that were in on it ways. Picture This, all these, they all supported us with their material. And also then the likes of the National Youth Council, Immigrant Council of Ireland. So we were able to build a programme and make awareness of what was going on. But last year again, it was kind of half digital. It probably needs to be revamped. New ideas, okay. Yeah, more people. Yeah, and I think the one in Kilkenny this year was an example of what you could do. Is because we invited the Ukrainians. Remember that day in McDonough Junction, and I just put another twist to the whole thing.
Yeah, that's not only about the Irish and Polish community.
Yeah.
It could be like a more international festival.
That's the idea, yeah.
And I think so this is something really like big, and they could be involved everyone.
I think that's the way to go, is to...
The last time there was like a Romanian community as well. Yeah, like African community.
Exactly, yeah. It was much better, you see. And then we had the two little Indian boys who, since then, have gone on to join the Irish dance.
That's amazing.
Irish dancing now. And that's the idea here behind Twilight. If we bring all the communities together, right, well, then they can put on these giant co-productions. And it makes everything more inclusive. But it also gives an opportunity for people who might not have the financial capacity to go to Europe for a week. Now they can go with their peers, people of their own age group. They can. It'll be something that they can always remember. And I mean, you would have seen it this year because you were there when the Polish and the French were going home. I mean, there was tears shed because they only have been with each other for 2 weeks. Now I know they're still talking to each other on.
That's amazing.
Social media.
That's another connection for the future.
Yeah,
again,
and they'll keep those relationships going.
Did you ever stop? Did you ever have
time off?
yes, or holiday?
I haven't had a holiday now. It's about 2015 or 16. Yeah, I haven't. No, I haven't taken a holiday. I should.
Yeah,
you should. I definitely should because I'll be quite honest with you.
That takes a lot of time. Actually,
it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy, and it does have an adverse effect on your health, especially when I do have a lot of little things going on, right? And yeah, it does. But I also find that when I'm away from it, I'm thinking about it, I'm missing. And where you might, it's very hard to turn off your mind, right? Like I'm always thinking, what can we do next? Okay, we could do this, we could do that. Like now, okay, we need a bigger place. I mean, if we had a bigger place, we could take in all the Ukrainian kids, okay, into the U Club. We could then develop chess clubs. We could develop, all these things could be going on, right? Now we have great guys here. I mean, Frank Cody would be one of the gentlemen that's been here for a number of years now, and they would be writing the programs and developing the programs for what we would submit to Europe to hope to get them passed. And then there's Stephen Mungovin. Stephen is our inclusion officer and also our operations manager guy, and he would develop a lot of plan the activities and would travel to a lot of the conferences such that are abroad now, because I'll be quite honest, I really find travelling now quite hard. And you were with me on a few trips, and it was a wheelchair job and stuff like that, so whereby I would love to be travelling more, but I don't think I'm up to it. Well, I don't know. Things can change overnight too,
Thank you very much, Marty, for your time.
Not at all.
And I want to wish you a lot of health.
Thank you.
And a lot of energy. And I hope so that one day you will go for your holiday and you just turn off your phone. Don't take your laptop, okay? And just relax. And I just want to say thank you to Amber Flash. Do you have a car?
I do. Yeah.
If you need like a deep cleaning, you can go to Amber Flash.
I think I will recommend them as well. They're very good.
Yeah, and I hope so. I will see you soon.
I'll make sure you do.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and see you soon.